Today we read from the book of Ezra. Its focus is on the Israelites finally being freed from Babylonian captivity by the Persian Empire. In this historical event, after being captive for over 70 years, they endured the hardship of being disconnected from their homeland and not being able to worship God in the temple. Here they were finally free. And during that time, they were both physically and spiritually distant from God, and it was because of their sins. They always saw the world and themselves in the midst of God's divine providence, and they saw their captivity as the fault of their own sins. This is why in our first reading, when Ezra comes back to the temple, he's not examining the Babylonian Empire's sins, but he looks upon his own heart, at his own faults and failures before God at the time for the evening sacrifice. Here he gives us an insight of how to approach God in his holy church. He says, "At the time of the evening sacrifice, I, Ezra, rose in my wretchedness, and with my cloak and mantle torn, I fell on my knees, stretching out my hands to the Lord my God. I said, 'My God, I am too ashamed and confounded to raise my face to you.' He didn't arise in his greatness or his perfection, but he arose in his wretchedness. And this reveals he rose in his need for God's mercy and salvation as he approached the worship of God. It is as if our Lord references this exact moment when he addresses the Pharisees, where he said the tax collector standing far off would not even lift up his eyes to heaven, but beat his breast, saying, 'God, be merciful to me, a sinner.' I tell you, this man went down to his house justified." For every Holy Mass is our approach toward God and our true encounter with him, who saves us through his sacrifice. It is always in this humble approach where God can reach us with his divine mercy. For if we have this humble approach toward God, his mercy is able to reach us and restore us. In fact, this happens at every confession, where we tell the priest where we were in Babylonian captivity in our lives, and we allow God's mercy to reach us and forgive us so we may be set free to worship God in his holy church by the decree of absolution. This is what causes people to feel distant from God physically and spiritually. Sometimes it's simply spiritual dryness, but in other situations it is because of someone's sins. And this is why some people can be in the most holy Mass and really experience the beauty of God's intimacy, and others sometimes seem far away. It is because of someone's sins, where they need to go to confession.